He's not dead!
This comedian has performed all and killed it in New York, killed it in the Bay Area, like it's been all over the place. You love her, you already know her. Give it up, big and loud for Chelsea Bearce, everybody! Oh my God, let's go!
But we all had to get real used to hair during the pandemic, right? Real used to hair. Like, be patient, I'll find it. Hold on. But now the salons are open again, I can get my Brazilian. Hell yeah. Where are my Brazilian bitches at? Where are my Brazilian bitches? More men clapped for that than women, I'm just saying. Okay? I get it, Rohnert Park, there's a lot of farmland. I fucking hear you. I get it. For those of you that don't know, Brazilians, that's fucking everything. They take it all off. This guy's sitting closer to me and he sat up in his chair. I see you, you take that. I see you. Don't get closer to me with your fucking selfies, Sean, you piece of shit. Brazilians, you guys, that's everything. They take everything off. When they finally called my name for my Brazilian, you guys, I ran in that room. It was dumb. I was so excited. I pulled my pants down, my panties down, jumped up on the table, opened everything up, but I did keep my mask on. That's true. I did keep my mask on. All right? I don't really know you well enough, okay? Get to work. You're not in my personal circle, all right? Yes, take everything. I'll hold my butt open for you. Go. Where's Sean with the selfie stick? Where the fuck are you at? Nope, you missed it, bitch. You fucking missed it. Read the room, motherfucker.
You did it!
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Funny's Not Dead. I have an amazing guest with us that just drove from flippin' Oregon.
I did. That's true.
How many sets did you do up there?
3. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then drove down for this one.
And she drove down. She's performing tonight. We're going to be filming that later. But in the meantime, I'm so glad you're here. With this show, you're the exact kind of person I want to talk to because you've got a hustle. You've got a kid.
Yeah.
It's still a minor. You're lazy. I heard you have 4 jobs.
Only 4?
You lazy man.
You
Only 4 jobs.
You stopped reading. I do. I have a lot of jobs. Yes, I have a kid. He's 6. I have a 6-year-old son. I have a cake business out of my house. I have a trivia company that I run. I'm a stand-up comic. I'm an actress. I just finished a play in Berkeley. So
nice.
Yeah, it's just you pick it, I'll do it. It's just I just create jobs for myself, but.
Yeah, in this business, you got to have a side hustle.
Yeah.
In your case, 4 of them.
Yeah. It turned all these side hustles into one big hustle. It's just, they always say, I think I was told as a kid, find something that you love to do it for the rest of your life, and you'll never work again, Right. And I think I just took that to heart. And I was like, well, I like doing this, this, and this. Oh, I can get paid for that? Great, let's do it.
Let's go! All right, so as someone that might be a new comic that wanting to get into the business.
Oh God. Oh God.
I mean, it's like, what would you suggest? What would you say?
Yeah.
For any encouragement, hope.
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that too, because I'm going into my 15th year of stand-up. And I also, for a while, was teaching stand-up comedy to new comics who, or I, put out there, like, are you the funniest one in the office? Have you always wanted to tell stories on stage? And I would teach like an 8-week course on, the history of comedy, the way to write a joke, the structure, this, and then like stage etiquette, and moving the mic stand, and so stuff like this. And so I dealt with that a lot. Why do you guys want to do this? Why do you want to get into this? And people have a lot of different reasons for why they want to get into stand-up comedy. But a couple things I would remind them is you cannot get better unless you bomb.
Right.
A lot.
You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. Fail big. That's right. Fail big. You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to...
Right. You gotta get stinky and dirty.
Yeah, and this is one of those. This is like one of the only jobs on the planet where you tell someone you're a stand-up comic and they want you to prove it right then. Or you can't get better unless you're standing in front of people and you're workshopping material. You can't get better. You can't practice this stuff by yourself. Can you write by yourself? Absolutely, but you'll never know if it works or not unless you're in front of a live audience.
15 years ago, where was it? Open mic? Was it first gig?
No, it's weird because I tell people how I started, and it's not really respected in the stand-up comedy world. It's kind of like karaoke singers and Broadway singers. Broadway singers are like, karaoke's not really singing, and it's like. So I in college I took a comedic performance class. Right, that was the title of it, comedic performance. And I had a start in theater. Theater is my background. I've been doing theater since I was 11 years old. So I've always been on stage my whole life. And I always played like, the sassy secretary, the funny best friend, the quirky, next door neighbor. Like that was always my character, was the humorous one. And so just because that's what I understood, that's what I was comfortable doing. I'm not the ingenue. I'm not going to play like the helpless, princess. And nope, that's not me. So when it said comedic performance, I was like, well, that's easy. Let me sign up for that. Signed up for that. The first day of class in college, they said, this is a stand-up comedy class, and your final is going to be performing your own original 10 minutes at the Ice House in Pasadena, right? Woo. Which is a very big club. Like, it's a, known club. And people were so terrified, half the class dropped out after day 1. And I saw that, and I was like, oh, this many people are scared of this? I'm doing it. And that was my first time on stage, was during our final, and I did 10 minutes, and I got off stage, and it was a high that I've never felt before. My heart was racing, but I just wanted more, and I was like, it was like the best drug I've ever had. I was like, I want to chase that. That's what I want, and so I just kept doing it. I did 2.5 years in LA. From that moment on, it just kept going. And then I moved to New York, did 5 years in New York, and now, since 2015, I've been, doing the Bay Area and started touring.
So a lot of us humans, I know you're Superwoman, but a lot of us have these voices in our heads that tell us we can't, we're not enough, we don't have this, right. Blah, blah, blah. Have you faced those in the beginning and even during your career, and how do you overcome that?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like that's just human nature, to be told, you can't do this, or you're not good enough, or this, and this. And yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where, yeah, it's there, you know. There are times when I'm sitting in the back of the room waiting to perform, and I'm like, I can't do this, I can't go on. They like that joke from that guy, oh, they're not gonna like this joke from me, and then you start, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then you get on stage, and something happens when you get on stage and you get your first laugh. So much of that, those voices disappear, you know? And a lot of that has to come from the confidence that, you know, I wrote these jokes, they're tried and true. Even the ones that I'm working on or workshopping between jokes that I know work, and I, you know, strategically put this new joke right in between just to see, you know, even that, I know I'm gonna tell it in my own voice. And if I tell it with enough confidence, I'm gonna get them on my side, you know? So, I don't know, it's the voices never go away. Those voices never go away. You know, you can drown them out with alcohol, with drugs, you know, you can help, you know, calm them down with therapy and, you know, working through all your stuff. That's fine, and it totally works. I'm a big advocate, you know, do it. But they're never gonna go away, you know, and you just have to be stronger than them. And that's,
just do it.
Just do it.
Just get up there and do it.
Just do it, yeah. And understand that they'll be there, but don't let them win.
Doubt is such a strange thing. I mean, it's, you know, there'll be times where you succeed and there are times that you fail. So wasting your time doubting whether you're going to be successful or not is pointless. It is. I mean, you just put one foot in front of the other, you control what you can't control, and then you see what the outcome is. Right? If you win, great. You're going to have to wake up the next day and do the journey over again. If you lose, it sucks, but you're going to have to wake up the next day and do the journey all over again anyway.
You know, I think that's the best thing to say about that. Yeah. I mean, LA was kind of, I really don't like LA. I lived in Pasadena, you know, and that's where I went to college and stuff, and so I don't like the people of LA. You know, LA's fine, but it's just LA had more of a dog eat dog, step on whoever you can to get ahead for yourself kind of a feel, where when I moved to New York, I did not feel that at all. Like New York, which sounds very backwards, right? But New York was, they're very honest people, very in your face, very unfiltered, you know, but they're not cruel from what I, you know, could tell, you know, it's just, it was, I found New York to be super, super helpful, you know.
Supportive even?
Very supportive, yes.
What's up? What's going on, LA?
My first gig in New York was at a club called New York Comedy Club, and it was on the east side. And very small club. I mean, I don't even think you could fit 50 or 60 people in there. It was pretty small, right? And so that was my first club. A booker named Clayton Fletcher put me on, and him and I are still friends to this day. He's fantastic, and he put me on. And that's the thing, is when you're good, when you're funny, also when you're respectful. That's the big thing too, is when you're respectful to the staff, to the booker, to the producer, to the other comics, word gets around that people will want to work with you. Right. You know what I mean? Being funny, yes, that's a must. That's what our job is. Right. You know, but there's so much more that goes into that, you know? So when I started doing shows there at that club, my name started getting around, and I started doing, you know, more stuff in New York, you know, Broadway Comedy Club. I did Caroline's on Broadway. I did, you know, Greenwich Village Comedy Club. I did, you know, it was just like Stand Up New York, The Stand, all these different, you know, clubs that I did, and it was fantastic. And I got to work with amazing people, you know. I followed Janine Garofalo multiple times. I worked with Daryl Hammond, you know, and he knew me, you know, that's the thing. So it's just like, that was the fun part of this, was seeing these greats that I watched still doing the craft that got us, you know what I mean? Like, got them to where they are now. We're both doing, where it starts is here, is, you know, doing stand-up in the small clubs, in the small venues. So, yeah, it was, that was my first one in New York. And then when I moved back to the Bay Area, I had to start all over again, because I had never done stand-up in the Bay Area. You know, I got my start in LA when I lived there, but I'm from here. I'm from the Bay Area, so I had to come back and start all over again from ground one. You know, just like figure it out.
I'm assuming it's two different cultures from East Coast New York to
right.
humor and here.
Yeah.
As Paul Connor says, doing comedy in San Francisco, the most triggered city in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so
and yeah, San Francisco, that's its own entity, you know, and there's a lot of comics who stick to those that area, you know, and they're like, my company works for tech bros in San Francisco. I don't want to venture too far out, you know, and it's like, but if you want to get work on the road, you have to have comedy that's universal enough and, you know, just open for everybody to understand, you know, and that's where, you know, some get scared, some get nervous, you know, but when I came back to the Bay Area, I had to start all over again, you know, and so I had to hit up people and, you know, find the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and, you know, just start reaching out and doing the small shows and stuff like that. I didn't know they were small because I was brand new to the scene now, you know, but I had 5, 6, 7, almost 8 years of comedy experience, and so it's like, you know, I can stand on my own, just, you know, give me a spot. And Kabir Singh was actually the first one to put me up in the Bay Area. So we had a few mutual friends, and they reached out on my behalf. And he got me on stage. So my very first Bay Area show was Kabir's show at Cobb's. It was a showcase. And so I went up, and from that moment on, it was just like, okay, she's good, book her. And then it just like blew up from there. And that's when things just really started, you know, I started meeting bigger comics that I didn't know, and then they would take me on the road with them. So now I'm getting road work just because I'm a good comic, but I'm also a decent human being, you know, and that you have to have those things in balance to make the stuff work, you know, so.
You said something a minute ago that just has really popped up in my mind.
Yeah.
You gotta know why you're doing this. You gotta know why. You gotta know your why. You gotta know your purpose.
Right.
Tony Robbins is one of my favorite motivational speakers, and that's one of the things he's always talking about. You don't have enough reason why, and especially an emotional attachment to it,
Right.
to pull and drive you.
Right. Yeah.
So, what's your why? 4 jobs with the comedy,
Yeah.
raising a kid.
Yeah.
What's pushing and pulling you and driving you?
So
What's your outcome?
I brought this up the last couple times I've been on stage, and it was really, really made apparent to me during the pandemic, right? Was that we as entertainers and comedians were called non-essential almost immediately. I mean, they shut down all live shows and everything. Right? It was terrible. It was terrible. And I think during the pandemic, we realized how essential, how vital entertainers and comedians actually are, because that's the group of people that got most of us through the pandemic. You know what I mean? So, but something I say on stage, and I've said it most recently, just to remind people, is we're all going through stuff. We all have trials. We all have, you know, obstacles and things that we're going through, trials and you know, tribulations. But when you come to a comedy show, if we do our job right for 2 hours, you're not thinking of any of those, you know, and your life is put on hold and you feel joy. That's why I do it. That's why I do it. I want to get on stage. I want to get on stage as a comedian, but also as a Black woman, because it's really important that our voice is heard as well, you know. And I look up to like the Marsha Warfields, the Whoopi Goldbergs, you know. I look up to these women who paved the way for Black women in comedy, you know. And do I get booked on shows sometimes because I'm Black or because I'm a woman? Yeah, of course I do. You know, but I don't let that dictate how I act on stage or how I act in the venue. I'm just another comedian, and I'm going to be there and I'm going to do my job. And my job is to spread joy. So if I make you laugh, at me, and I make you also make it okay for you to laugh at yourself, fantastic. Because now you're not thinking about that bill that's due on Wednesday. You're not thinking about, you know, this woman at work who threw you under the bus at your job. You know what I mean? It's just like, this is what I'm...
Or can you even forget about the hemorrhoids for a minute?
So that's why I do it. I do it because we all are going through bullshit. We're all going through stuff. You know, you're going through stuff that I don't know about, same as, you know, me and everybody else in this room. But for that 2-hour period of time, if you're not thinking about it, then I did what I'm supposed to do. You know?
And you brought up a good point. All of us are you know, got stuff going on in our lives that we don't know about. You know, one of the things I'm constantly doing is always feeding my mind with positive things and,
Right.
and encouraging and uplifting things, edifying. You know, one of the things that Les Brown says, life is going to happen to you. It's not about life happening to you. It's what you're going to do about it.
Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story. 80% don't care and 20% glad it's you. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it?
Right. Yeah.
You know, because life's going to show up. You know,
Right.
And it's either happening for you or to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, all perception.
Yeah.
So-
And I actually have I have that motivation or that kind of narrative when it comes to me having all these jobs as well, you know, because if I talk to a lot of people who have a 9-to-5, they don't understand how I'm surviving. They have no idea, you know, because yeah, I have a kid, I, you know, have a business over here, I have a business over here, I have a business over here. Oh, and I have shows and rehearsal and performance and this. So it's like I have all these things. So for a lot of people, keeping that shit straight is absolutely impossible. Like there's no way that could happen. But for me, I view that as, oh, this month might be a little bit slow. Okay, I think I'm gonna pick up a show here. Maybe I'll produce a show here. I think I'm gonna make a cupcake special and I'll sell it to people locally, you know, so I come up with, instead of sitting around being like, what am I gonna do? Who's gonna save me? Who can I borrow money from? No, I'll create a job and I'll make it work. You know what I mean? Because I don't want those voices to win.
Right.
You know?
Right, and that's what it comes down to, is taking charge of our thoughts.
Right, yes, and that's where the positivity thing comes in that you were bringing up, because it's like, yes, I you know, the negative stuff, you know, that does seep in, you know, the doubt is there for sure, but it's also what's stronger than that, the positivity and the, you know, doing something about it and taking this proactive approach is going to be way louder than any of those things can be, you know.
Seriously, what does failure mean? It doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. If you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that. Because, you know, if I fail today, okay, I'm gonna learn something from that failure and I'm gonna try again on Tuesday. And I fail, and I'm gonna try again on Wednesday. The worst possible thing you could ever have is to stop.
Now, one thing that I know about you is you're a giver.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing, especially in this business. If you're not thinking about others and helping others along the way, that gets noticed.
Right.
So, without tooting your own horn, but I mean, how have the last 15 years have you helped other people on their journey?
So a big one is one of my best friends in life and in comedy is Miles Weber, right? And Miles is fantastic. He's done a lot in his career. When he became friends with me and saw me on stage, he took it upon himself to take me under his wing, you know, so to speak. And when he was able to travel or tour and bring his own feature, he brought me along. And that pushed me because I was like, I have to do 30 minutes? I don't know if I've done 30 minutes in 8 years, you know? Like I was used to 10-minute spots, 15-minute spots, maybe 20, you know? And he brought me with him. He pushed me. He was like, let's, and then we realized how well we brainstorm together and write just organically, like in the car or in the plane or traveling. And we just write, and we try it on stage. We're like, oh man, that totally worked, you know, and stuff. So he is the reason why I started touring. And he brought me along because he wanted the clubs to see me and then bring me back as a headliner. And now that's something that I do, is where I'm headlining. I say, can I bring my own feature? And then I do that for other comics. You know, that's something that I wanted to do, was to take what he did for me, which really helped boost my career. And I want to do that for other people. You know, I also help people, you know, write, you know, comedy. I do that, you know.
And you're showing up here, being a giver here, talking about your experience, strength, and hope. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's just this, And we've been trying to get this interview done for what? I mean, a long time.
Timing is everything.
So I talk with a lot of comics. I help them write, you know, but really taking them on the road, because then you're giving them not only that push, you know, to stretch their wings and you know, push themselves to do more time and be better and be funnier and do comedy outside of your comfort zone, which for a lot of people is terrifying, you know, but it's like, that's the only way you're going to get better at this, you know? Right. So really taking what he did for me and then just, you know, paying it forward is a huge thing. I'm a huge advocate for that. So.
Amazing.
Yeah,
you know, because you learn from that experience and how it didn't feel well in LA and people, you know, being cutthroat. thinking of themselves only.
Yeah, and that's something I never understood either. I never understood all the drama that goes into this. You know, I'm like, we have the coolest job on the planet. You know, we get to show up, and that's the other thing is that people that are non-comedians think that the only work we do is on stage. It's like, how hard is your job? You work for 40 minutes a day, you know, and it's like, no, there's so much that goes on off the stage.
Right.
This is the tip of the iceberg. This is where it's fun. But to get here took so much work and so much, you know, just preparation and, you know, blood, sweat, tears, all that stuff. And I just never understood why there's so much drama, you know, that goes into this. You know, like why comics are rude and mean and you know, just cruel on social media. And it's like, we are in the business of spreading laughter. Like, can you just show up, be a good person, get paid, have a free drink or two, hug some people, and then leave? Like, do your job. That's it, you know? So I just never understood why there's so much drama and, you know, just underlying, because it's that the you know, general public doesn't see.
Right.
You know, but us in the business, we see it, and that stuff gets around. You know, it's really not that big of a community. So it's like bookers and producers and other comedians are gonna know that you spread stuff on Facebook, or you slander other people's names, or you say things behind people's backs. It's like, it will get back to them. It's a small community, you know.
Yeah, it's about spreading laughter, joy, and love. I mean, that's one of the morals I try to live by.
Yeah.
I've lived as an asshole, self-centered, self-seeking in my past, and I don't like that.
Right.
And one of the ways I can be a living image from how I used to be, you know, especially in the business, is how can I shine light with people that are in the business. The show interviews models and actors and bands, you know, and so it's just like, what are you doing that's different than others, where you're being a giver, not just a taker. You're not just thinking about yourself and climbing that ladder and stepping on anyone in your way. It doesn't matter, because that's not what this is about.
No, not at all.
Even Robin Williams, throwing a little clip of this, he's saying it's all about giving and being of service.
Yeah.
Ego goes bye-bye, you know, all that stuff at the end of it.
The thing that matters are others, way beyond yourself. Self goes away, ego, bye-bye. Realize there are a lot of amazing people out there to be grateful for, and a loving God. And that, other than that, good luck. That's what life is about.
Day.
Yeah.
And wonderful thing is about your experience with these 4 jobs and what you're doing now and all this creating is, if you're blessed enough to live a ripe old age, you know, like my dad, and his body's gone, but he's still got his mind, he's still sharp, and all he's got is the memories.
Yeah.
What are you creating in your memories of the latter days that you can sit back and go, I did good.
Yeah.
We ran this race and it's okay.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You want to look back and, you know, because I feel like I'm so in the moment all the time. You know, like I look at, you know, I have orders and stuff that come in, you know, for weeks down the road, you know, and it's like, okay, I'll put that on the calendar and I'll deal with it then, you know. But right now, I look at what's coming up next and what's coming up. What do I have to do today, you know? And I like staying in the moment, but doing that sometimes I forget to reflect on what I have done, you know, like, and give myself a little pat on the back. Like, you're doing a lot, you know what I mean? But I have been so, I don't know, focused on staying in the moment, because that also, staying in the moment, helps me stay positive, helps those doubt voices get a little bit muffled, you know, which is fantastic.
There's too much to do. Oh shit!
Right. Which is definitely me a lot of times, but I try to stay. Once I stay in the moment, then I'm laser focused on just the next 2 or 3 things that I have to do. Let me do those to the best of my ability, you know. And then when those are finished, it's like, oh, fantastic. Oh, I have these. Okay, now I'm on these 2 or 3 things, you know.
And you're gaining momentum every time you do one thing.
But it
off
is
that
important to take that time to reflect back and be like, you know what, you did a good job. This helped this person, you know. Give yourself a little bit of grace and mercy for that. You did a good job, you know. So,
quick challenge here, spit take challenge. You got to make me laugh and spit.
Oh God! What is this? What? I immediately regret doing this. gonna do it until your shirt is or your face is as red as your shirt because it's really fucking close.
She just wants me to swallow. All the comics just want me to swallow.
That is the reputation you have, John. It is.
Well, you know, it's not a bad reputation. I aim to please. All right, we're going to take a quick break to throw in a little commercial for our sponsors. I want to thank them for supporting FND. We'll be right back. And we're back. That's the great thing about editing.
The magic of editing.
I want to thank you so much for showing up. I know we're getting ready to perform here. People coming in. Any comments, questions, or rebuttals for me?
Oh my gosh. You know what I did want to say? I was actually thinking about, I didn't know what you were going to ask me on this, you know what I mean? But I wanted to give a huge shout out to all the comics and the entertainers
absolutely.
that really made the pandemic their own. You know what I mean? Like, so many of them were like, well, we can't perform live. Like, what are we going to do? We're done. And a lot of comics quit. There were a lot of people who just stopped. You know what I mean? But
the Zoom shows, I saw them there.
Zoom shows were, you know, not all of them were bad. You know what I mean? Like, you had to kind of figure them out. It was a trial and error kind of situation. But yeah, I made 3 different shows during the pandemic, and they were super fun. And I feel like when comics put their mind to it, and they're like, I'm not going to quit comedy, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to let the pandemic win, you know, and they created stuff, and it was super fun. I did Drawing a Blank, which was a comedians playing Pictionary show, which was super fun, and we went live on Facebook, live on Twitch, and it was a lot of fun. I created a show called Who Wrote This Shit with one of my super good friends in New York, and it was a game show, you know, it was kind of like the match game, you know, kind of style show. And then I did a show with Miles Weber called This Show Is No Joke, and we got comics on, and it was like you were hanging out with them in the green room, and you were just chatting with them, and everyone could talk and, you know, comment and hang out, and it was really fun. So the comics that really made something out of the pandemic and just pushed themselves to do something a little outside of the box, just to keep comedy alive, that was a really, really fun time, and I want to give them props for that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So grateful that everybody's keeping the hustle up, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I started this about 5-6 years ago, and then I went into acting and now I'm producing, but yeah, there's people that are not here that when I first started,
right.
And I'm like, where did Hugo and a few other people that I know went?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And congratulations for you. You're doing all this stuff, and I mean, congratulations on all the things that you're doing.
Thank you. I had a heart to want to do demo reels, self-tapes for actors.
Yeah.
You know, get people that exposure, because that was one of the hardest things to
Oh my gosh.
get.
Yeah.
and it's just evolved over the years. I started out in photography, working with a lot of models, so that's why they're in the show.
Yeah.
And of course, bands. I did some singing in the past, and just promoting other bands. One right now is Everything's Taken and Stony Point and McWicked. They're going to be on the show, and there's just so many wonderful hidden talents.
Yeah.
The show's about the unseen and underdog, so I'm so honored that you're here.
Oh, thanks.
Because you're definitely talented and amazing, and of course beautiful.
Oh,
So,
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, this has been fun.
all right, and that's a wrap.
How do you guys feel? Are you glad the masks are done? Are you glad? Are we good? Are we glad the masks are done? Yes? Yes? Yeah? I love the masks. I want the masks to come back. I'm with you guys. I fucking love them. You know why? They cover up my beard. Bring that shit back. Oh my God. Because you get a beard at a certain age, ladies, it's just what happens. Ride that wave, okay? The cool thing about having a beard as a female in these times is if you get lazy, you can just change your pronouns. It's real nice, you guys. I leave my razor at home, guess what? It's a they, them day.